The alarm goes off at 6 in the morning. And before the day has even properly begun, a series of financial decisions quietly start unfolding. A car with worn-out tires needs another repair because replacing it entirely has never fit within the monthly budget. A credit card balance carries over once again because an unexpected medical expense arrived at the worst possible time. A household appliance continues operating inefficiently because buying a higher quality replacement would require money that simply is not available today. None of these choices reflect laziness, irresponsibility, or a lack of intelligence. In many cases, they represent rational responses to immediate constraints. Yet over time, these responses reveal one of the most overlooked realities in personal finance: being poor is often significantly more expensive than having money. Most people imagine financial disadvantage as the absence of purchasing power, but the deeper issue lies in how scarcity changes the mathematics of everyday life. Wealth frequently provides access to discounts, flexibility, lower risk, and the ability to think in longer time horizons. Financial instability, on the other hand, often forces people into decisions that solve today's problems while increasing tomorrow's costs. This creates a cycle that can be difficult to recognize from the outside because each individual choice appears reasonable when viewed in isolation. Consider the difference between buying inexpensive products repeatedly and purchasing higher quality items that last longer. Someone with sufficient savings may spend more upfront on durable shoes, reliable appliances, or preventative maintenance because they can absorb the initial expense. Someone operating with tighter margins may choose the lowest immediate cost because that option preserves cash needed for rent, groceries, or transportation. The result is that the cheaper option often becomes more expensive over time through repeated replacements, repairs, and interruptions. What appears to be a spending problem is frequently a liquidity problem. Behavioral economists have long studied how scarcity influences cognition. When resources become limited, attention naturally narrows toward immediate concerns. This focus can be remarkably effective for short-term survival, yet it can also reduce the mental bandwidth available for long-range planning. The challenge is not a lack of discipline but rather the constant pressure of urgent trade-offs. Every decision carries greater consequences when there is little room for error, and this environment can encourage solutions that prioritize certainty in the present over efficiency in the future. Credit provides another example of how financial conditions shape outcomes. Individuals with strong financial positions often qualify for lower interest rates because they present less perceived risk to lenders. Lower borrowing costs make it easier to purchase homes, finance education, or manage temporary cash flow disruptions. Those with limited resources may face the opposite reality, encountering higher interest rates, additional fees, and stricter lending conditions precisely when affordable financing would be most beneficial. The mathematics are straightforward but powerful. Even small differences in borrowing costs can translate into thousands of dollars over time, widening existing gaps through mechanisms that operate quietly in the background. Transportation illustrates a similar pattern. Reliable transportation can improve access to employment opportunities, reduce stress, and increase flexibility. However, maintaining dependable transportation requires financial reserves. When those reserves are absent, a single mechanical failure can trigger missed workdays, emergency borrowing, or expensive short-term alternatives. The original problem may have been relatively small, but the consequences expand because there are fewer buffers available to absorb disruption. Housing follows comparable dynamics. Individuals with stronger financial profiles often have more options, including neighborhoods with shorter commutes, better infrastructure, and increased stability. Those with fewer resources may encounter higher security deposits, limited availability, or living arrangements that introduce additional costs through transportation needs, time constraints, and reduced flexibility. Once again, the issue extends beyond individual choices. Systems often reward stability while simultaneously making stability harder to achieve for those who need it most. From a mathematical perspective, small disadvantages compounded over long periods can produce substantial differences in outcomes. A modest increase in interest rates, recurring late fees, higher insurance premiums, frequent product replacement, and reduced investment capacity may appear insignificant independently. Combined over years, however, they create a meaningful financial drag. The same principle that allows investments to compound can also apply to costs. Positive compounding accelerates progress, while negative compounding increases friction. This understanding challenges a common assumption within financial discussions: the belief that information alone solves economic hardship. Financial education remains valuable because understanding systems improves decision-making, but knowledge cannot instantly remove structural constraints. A person may fully understand the benefits of emergency savings while simultaneously lacking sufficient income to build those reserves. Recognizing this distinction allows for more productive conversations about money, responsibility, and opportunity. History offers important parallels. During periods of economic uncertainty, households have consistently adapted through strategies designed to preserve immediate stability. These adaptations often involve trade-offs that appear inefficient from a distance yet make complete sense within constrained environments. Whether during recessions, inflationary periods, or times of widespread unemployment, people tend to prioritize resilience over optimization. The objective shifts from maximizing future outcomes to protecting present necessities. There is also an important psychological dimension to these experiences. Constant financial pressure can influence identity, confidence, and perceived agency. When setbacks occur repeatedly despite sustained effort, individuals may begin interpreting systemic challenges as personal failures. Yet understanding the mechanics behind these patterns reveals a different perspective. Many financial outcomes emerge not solely from isolated decisions but from the interaction between human behavior and the environments in which those decisions occur. This realization does not eliminate personal responsibility, nor does it suggest that individual actions are meaningless. Rather, it encourages a more complete understanding of financial reality. Habits matter, planning matters, saving matters. At the same time, access, timing, flexibility, and structural incentives also matter. Wealth is not merely a reflection of income, it is often a reflection of optionality, the ability to absorb shocks without cascading consequences. Perhaps the most valuable shift in perspective is recognizing that financial systems contain both visible and invisible costs. Visible costs appear on receipts and account statements. Invisible costs emerge through stress, lost opportunities, reduced bargaining power, and the inability to choose longer-term solutions. Appreciating these hidden mechanics fosters greater empathy and more sophisticated thinking about economic outcomes. The phrase, "being poor is expensive," is not simply an observation about money, it is an observation about time horizons, decision environments, and the cumulative effects of constrained choices. Understanding these dynamics allows us to move beyond simplistic explanations and toward a deeper appreciation of how financial systems shape everyday life. The mathematics behind economic hardship are often subtle, but their effects are profound, influencing not only bank balances but also the possibilities available to individuals and families as they navigate an increasingly complex world. In the end, financial well-being is not determined by a single decision or one defining moment. It emerges from thousands of interactions between people and systems over time. By understanding the hidden costs embedded within scarcity, we become better equipped to evaluate policies, challenge assumptions, and approach conversations about money with greater nuance. The goal is not to assign blame or offer false certainty, but to recognize that behind many financial struggles lies a set of mechanics that deserve careful attention, thoughtful analysis, and a more human understanding.